So children, let's begin with a new lesson in chemistry today, that is water. You all are very familiar with the term water because water is something without which we cannot live for a day. And even for hours, if I say, it won't be wrong, children, because every now and then we feel like having some amount of water. In summers, we drink a lot of water. But in winters, as these days, the intake of the water becomes less, but still we consume water. So water is something which makes the life exist on our planet also. You know children, in our solar system, there are so many planets, but life exists on our planet only. Why? Because one of the factor over there is also water. Because of the presence of water, life exists on our planet. So in this lesson of chemistry, children, we are going to learn about water in detail. So let's begin with the chapter today and see what is water. Water is such a liquid that has no color, taste or odor. Odor means smell, children. It has highest known specific heat. Now the specific heat of water is highest, children, and acts as an efficient solvent when it is hot. Now a solvent means something which can dissolve the other substances into it, and it is known as solvent. Now water is such a solvent, children, that it can dissolve many kind of solids, liquids and even gases. So that is why it is known as a solvent. We use water daily for many purposes. Many different kinds of things that we do in our daily life depend upon water. Due to a regular and adequate supply of water, we hardly feel its importance. However, whenever there is scarcity of water, scarcity means whenever we don't have water or there's a drought condition, then at that time we realize how useful water is in our daily life. Now even on the days of the fast, you must have seen your mothers fasting. So if they are fasting and in that particular fast, if they are not supposed to drink water, then it becomes difficult for them to survive the whole day without the water. So at that time, and when you're thirsty in the school or something and you want to go to have a glass of water, and then maybe a very important lecture is going on or a class is going on and you're not supposed to move out, how thirsty you feel. So at that time we realize how important the water is for us. Water plays a key role in carrying out the important activities. We do many activities that are dependent on water, like drinking, of course, cooking, bathing, irrigation. Hence, life is possible on the earth due to the presence of water. As I told you, children, nearly 3/4 of the earth's surface is covered with water. That we all have read in geography, that 1/4 of the part of the earth is land and 3/4 of it is what? It is water. It is present in all the living things. Most of the world's water is in this form of seas. You know how many seas are there on our planet? So most of the water that is present in the seas. Water covers 70% of the earth's surface and is present in the form of rain, snow, hail, etc. Now all the water that is present on the earth is not in the form of liquid state only, children. It can be in the form of water vapor which is present in the air. It can be in the form of the snow that is present on the hills where the glaciers and all are present. So water is not only present in the form of liquid, but it is also present in the form of the solid state and even in the gaseous state. Next we come to, children, the occurrence of water. Water is present almost in all the natural things like the plants, animals, rocks and the air. In the solid state, it exists as snow in the snow-covered mountains. It is also present in the rocks and the minerals as water of crystallization. Now you must be wondering, in the rocks you have not seen the water, children, but it is present in the form of water of crystallization and as water vapor in the air. That means every form of the water, maybe you are not able to perceive and you are not able to see, but you can feel its presence. Now water vapor in the air is present, that you have already seen. In my previous videos I had shown you with the activities where we had taken a glass of cold water and the water droplets were sticking to the outer surface. So that shows that water is present in the form of water vapor also. Now have a look at this, children, the occurrence of water. What is the amount of the water present in the various things? See, in meat it is 75%, in the milk it is 85%, in tomatoes it is 74%. Even very interesting, in our own body, children, 70% of our body is made up of water only. So this shows, children, that in all living matter, including human beings and food stuff, a lot of water is present. The next one is, children, rainwater. You should underline this line, children. Rainwater is the purest form of naturally occurring free water. That means the amount of water that is present on our earth, children, in that the rainwater is supposed to be the purest form of water. Why it is so, children? It is so because it is formed by natural distillation process. Now, distillation, if you remember, children, distillation is a process in which first the evaporation takes place and then the condensation. Now, because these two processes are taking place, so all the impurities are left behind and the water that comes back becomes absolutely pure. That is the rainwater. But at places where heavy industries are present, the pollutants like carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide gases are also present in the air. Now these gases, because if a lot of impurities are present in the air, children, then when the rainwater is falling down, these impurities make the rainwater become impure, and then it becomes in the form of an acid also. That rain is known as acid rain. That is what we see. These gases, these two gases, children, carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide, when they dissolve in water, they form the acids. Carbon dioxide will form the carbonic acid and sulfur dioxide will form the sulfurous acid. Thus the acid rain, when these acids are going to mix with the rainwater, then the rain is known as acid rain, is caused, which further damages the crops, forest and building. Now wherever this water is falling down, children, it will damage whatever bodies are coming in contact with it, whether it is the body of some plants, animals, human beings, or maybe some non-living things. Everything gets damaged because of its presence. Next we come to, children, surface water. Rainwater present on the surface of the earth is called the surface water. The water present on the surface is the surface water. River water. The water in the rivers and the lakes comes from the rain and the melting of the snow. So when it rains down, children, water reaches to the rivers and the lakes, and even due to the melting of the snow on the hills and all, the rivers get their water. This water that is found due to the melting of the snow, it flows down the hills and then it goes into the rivers. On its way, it dissolves some soluble salts and can carry the suspended impurities like clay, sand, sewage, etc. So when this water is moving down, children, many impurities gets mixed into this water. This adds harmful bacteria to the river, which causes deadly diseases such as cholera, dysentery, typhoid, etc. Now, not only these natural problems, but even on the way, many human beings also dirty the river water by bathing in the water, or maybe by washing their clothes near the river. Then even the passage of all the detergent and everything into the river water, even they make their animals bath into the same water. So all these things, they add a lot of germs to the river water, which if you drink that water without treating it and without cleaning it, then we can have these different kind of diseases. Due to the harmful bacteria and germs, it is unfit for drinking purposes. Now this is the reason, children, why we cannot consume the river water directly for drinking. That means you can't drink the river water without treating it or without cleaning it. It is very unsafe. Next is sea water. Streams and rivers finally flow into the sea. Where do the rivers finally flow and go? They meet into the sea. And therefore they are known as the largest reservoir of the natural water. Sea water is most impure and highly salty. Now the sea water is more impure than the river water, children. Why? Because it also contains a lot of minerals, a lot of salt into it, and that is why sea water is salty, because it contains sodium chloride in it. Due to the presence of salts of various kinds, underline this line, children, the saltiness of sea water is known as its salinity. Now salinity is actually the amount of salt that is present in the sea water. Coming to the next one, that is underground water. part of the rainwater goes into the earth until it meets the hard rock. Now once the water is entering inside, children, it keeps on seeping down. Seeping down means it keeps on moving down until and unless it reaches to the layer which is known as the hard rock layer. The water cannot go beyond this hard rock, and hence it goes on accumulating above it and forms a reservoir. Now see over here, children, this is the impervious rock layer. Now impervious rock layer, as you can see over here, children, this. Now this is actually the hard layer. Now beyond this, below this, water cannot go. So what will it do? As the rain is falling down, the water seeps through the topsoil, comes to this layer, the pervious rock layer. That means it has certain holes and pores are there through which water can keep on moving beneath that, until and unless it comes to this layer. Now it cannot cross this layer, so what will it do? It will start collecting above this impervious rock. And then when the wells are being dug, children, they are made to dig till here, till it cannot go beyond and where it does not find water. So it is dug till here, and a lot of water is present over here. That is known as the underground water, and that is actually the water which is present in the wells. This reservoir of water over the hard rock and below the earth's surface is called the underground water. Now this is all known as the underground water. This water is free from the impurities. Now this water is actually free from impurities because, children, it has been passing through the different layers of the soil, and when it is passing through the different layers of the soil and through the rocks, children, all the impurities are left in this and only pure water moves down. So this water is free from the suspended impurities because it is filtered by nature and it passes through the several layers of the soil. Well water, when the earth's surface is dug deep, water reservoirs are found above the impervious rock, as I showed you right now. This reservoir of water is known as a well, and you all must have seen a well, maybe in reality, or if not in reality, then you all must have seen it on television. It's a fact. Now let's see what a fact is. The water of a deep well is purer than that of a shallow well. Now if you have a well that is very, very deep, the more is the depth of the well, children, more is its purity of the water. Why? Because as the water is moving down, children, it is getting filtered by the different layers. Sewage impurities may find their way into the shallow well. Even the sewage lines, maybe some impurities of these sewage lines can mix with the above layers of the water, but they don't reach to such an extent as if the depth of the well is very, very deep. So deeper the well, purer the water. Spring water. When the underground water over the impervious rocks exerts pressure and comes out in the form of an opening, this water is called the spring water. Now maybe in geography you have learned about spring water, children, that when this underground water starts coming to the earth's surface on its own, whenever there are some cracks in the earth and it finds its way, it starts coming out on its own, then that water is known as the spring water. Now some spring water have even the mineral water mixed in it, and because of it they have the medicinal value also. That means if you use the water of such a spring, children, it can heal many problems that are there in our body. So at times it can also be very, very useful for us. Next is, children, the three states of matter and how the interchanging of the three states of matter can be done. Now there is a diagram given in your book. Refer to that diagram. When ice is heated, the molecules will gain the kinetic energy. Now kinetic energy is the energy which is possessed by the molecules because of their movement and move away from each other. Now whenever we are heating something, then the molecules will gain more kinetic energy and they will start moving away from each other. On further application of the heat, molecules still move away from each other. Now when we are heating anything, if we are heating liquid, children, if we are heating liquid water, then molecules are already having kinetic energy, and when we give them additional heat, the kinetic energy increases so much that they break the intermolecular forces of attraction, and then they change the state from liquid state into the gaseous state. Now have a look over here, children. If we take ice cubes in a beaker and we start heating it, you will see that this ice will change, and the process is known as melting. It will change into the second state, which is known as the liquid state, which is water. Now why this happened, children? Because as we are giving it heat, the kinetic energy of the molecules increased. It broke the intermolecular forces of attraction and it changed the state and came to the liquid state. Now if you still keep on heating it, children, again it will change the state, and from the liquid state it will go into the next stage, which is known as the gaseous stage, which is water vapor, which you call it. See, and the process of changing of the liquid water into the gaseous state is known as vaporization. Now just the reverse of it happens if we are cooling it down. Now when you are cooling it down, children, what you are doing? You are lowering down the kinetic energy of the molecules. That means they stop moving so fast, they start coming closer to each other, and when the molecules start coming closer, the intermolecular forces of attraction increase, the intermolecular space decrease, and they change the state. Now see, this is the vapor, right? Now this vapor, children, you start cooling it. You remove it over here and you start cooling it, children. It will condense this water vapor which is coming over here. If you put a lid over here, if you cover it, you put a lid, you will see this gaseous state. When it will touch this lid, they will change the state and they will come into the liquid state. The same thing can be shown over here. See, this liquid which will be seen sticking in the form of water droplets. When they will drop down, if you check this is water. So this process is known as, children, condensation, or you call it as liquefaction. Now you take the same water, children, and put it into the fridge. What will happen? The liquid state of water will change into the solid state of water, which we call it as ice. The process is known as freezing, or what you call it as solidification. So this is how interchanging of states of matter takes place. Okay, so the last topic that we see for today's video is, children, water cycle. What is water cycle, children? The circulation of water from the earth's surface to the atmosphere and back to the earth's surface is called a water cycle. Now as you can look in this diagram, children, what is actually happening is, due to the sun's, right, the water is getting vaporized. The water of the seas, rivers, lakes and all is all getting vaporized. It is changing into the water vapor state. This vapor is moving up. Now as this vapor moves up, children, it starts cooling down. When it cools down, it starts changing the condensation. As I showed you right now, the condensation of the water vapor takes place and it changes into the liquid state of water. Now that liquid state of water forms what is known as clouds. And this cloud, children, when it becomes heavy due to a lot of water droplets sticking over here, it makes the cloud heavy. They fall down into rain. And from the rain, once again, the water reaches to all the water bodies like the rivers, seas, oceans and lakes. So this complete circle of the water from the rivers or the water bodies, it reaches to the air in the form of clouds, and from the clouds it once again drops down in the form of rain and reaches to the water bodies again. This complete cycle, which can be seen over here, is what is known as water cycle, which is shown over here also, right? So that is why the water which circulates, moves in the form of a cycle, is known as water cycle. So with this we come to an end of today's video.